Yo, what's going on guys? Ian77 here. In today's video, we're going to be using my favorite and the best log bait deck inside of Clash Royale. Alright, hopping in the first match here, we're going to be up against this guy, and I do know he's an E-Giant main player, so I am going to go with the barrel in the safe spot here. I do always recommend you guys go with the barrel in the safe spot unless you know what your opponent is playing in. Sometimes in top ladder I play it in the normal spot, but that's just because I know what my opponent, like a lot of my opponents are running already, so not too worried about that here. Alright, so yeah, this guy's going to be running E-Giant, which is going to be an interesting matchup. Should be a pretty solid matchup. We don't have Tesla, though. We do have Inferno Tower, which might not be quite as good as Tesla, but the nice thing about it is that it doesn't die fully to lightning, so even though it is weak against the E-Giant itself, like if they, I don't know, do the right set of plays, but it doesn't die to lightning, so it can always kite it. And by the way, guys, right there, I actually went with the barrel in the normal spot because I was expecting that he would try to go with a Dark Prince or Bomber to try to fully counter the barrel in the kind of safe spot, but I actually ended up playing it normally, and he ended up thinking it was in the safe spot, so he just kind of wasted a Dark Prince there, and he kind of went with the Panic NATO after that, so yeah. And by the way, guys, if you ever have to cycle E-Spirit with this deck and they don't, like, play anything, just kind of like make sure to always go with like guards in front of it, or like a Goblin Barrel or a Princess at the bridge. That way you don't give them like the free King Tower activation. And King Tower activation with this deck kind of, I mean, like, if you let your opponent get a King Tower activation, it can be pretty bad for you, but it kind of depends on the matchup. Like, if it's going to be against a Snowball deck, for example, then if you let them get King activation, it's a lot worse for you, so, yeah, be more careful about it in certain matchups, but yeah. So far we're doing really well here in this matchup against E-Giant. We got really good chip early on, and we didn't give him the King Tower activation or anything like that, so yeah. He is gonna get a nice bomber there. That's the kind of only annoying thing. And we're actually gonna rocket this E-Giant, because whenever they play their E-Giant behind the tower, even if it's not in the same lane that you're going for, you can actually get a rocket on it, and it's actually a pretty good play, because it takes like nearly half of the E-Giant's HP off, and you get a ton of damage on their tower, so if you're like even on Elixir, honestly, it's a pretty good play to do. And you can kind of just finish it off with like a Valkyrie plus Log, and yeah. So we're gonna have really good defense here. Dark Prince just barely doesn't get the charge, and the nice thing we have now is that both of his towers are kind of low in HP, so if he goes E-Giant behind either one of his towers, we're just gonna rocket it and get a lot of free chip damage, so yeah. We might have been able to rocket that E-Giant if we had a bit of a faster reaction time, but we didn't. But it should be fine here still. You don't need the rocket for defense, just like if you feel like doing it, you can easily do it. And as you guys can see there, once again, I did go with my barrel in the normal spot, because I knew he wouldn't go with the NATO on it, because I knew he was expecting it to be in the safe spot, so you can kind of play mind games with your opponent like that sometimes, and it often will allow you to get a ton of damage. We didn't go with it quite in the safe spot there, but his bomber does still end up fully countering it, so he did do pretty okay here, but I'm not even worried once we get to like triple elixir, because we can kind of just like rocket all his E-Giants, so even if he goes with the E-Giant in the back, we can kind of just like rocket his first E-Giant, finish it off with a Valkyrie, then for his second E-Giant, then we can kind of just take that out with the Inferno Tower. Honestly, the best part of this matchup is just stacking all the princesses, because they can always like, I don't know, like lightning your Inferno Towers kind of run you thin sometimes, but the nice thing you have is the princesses, which they can't really ever kill cheaply, so that's one really nice thing for you. And once you already rocketed E-Giant, it's better to usually just save your Inferno Tower from there. Like, there's no need to waste an Inferno Tower on this E-Giant. We can kind of just finish it off with the Valkyrie here and a couple of the support cards and whatnot, but yeah. And he does keep making the same mistake over and over, and since it is triple elixir, even though I'm down a few elixir, I'm not going to be afraid to rocket that E-Giant. Princess is going to get a really nice splash shot as well, so really good stuff here for us. Honestly, if you guys are ever struggling against E-Giant, you should definitely use the log bait, because honestly it's really fun against E-Giant, and also really good against it. And honestly, Inferno Tower isn't even like too bad though against like the E-Giant itself, because the thing is, like, the E-Giant is going to be super bad against the Inferno Tower until it actually gets really close to it, so it's going to I mean, like, the E-Giant will already die before it gets to the Inferno Tower unless they lightning it, so it's honestly not too bad, and we're gonna have a pretty nice win here, so that's gonna be GG. Alright, we're gonna be up in the next match here against this guy, and we don't have the best starting hand here. It's kind of not really like the best play to waste your guards right away, but the thing is we kind of have to, because if we go with the E-Spirit in the back here and he doesn't respond to it, we're gonna have to guards. Unfortunately, we do go with the guards right into the Dark Prince. I was kind of expecting him to just try to activate King, which he doesn't end up doing here, so not the best stuff for us here. Seeing Dark Prince plus minions, this can only be one thing. It is going to be Giant Graveyard, I'm quite sure. I think I did face this guy a couple times as well. And strangely, he is going to go with the Queen behind the tower, basically giving us a free rocket. When I did face this guy earlier, I was using Hog EQ, so I guess he wasn't expecting me to have Logbait, so he kind of went with a bit of a bad Queen there. And guys, the reason I prefer Inferno Tower in this deck is just because it's so much better against matchups like this. Like against Giant Graveyard, they have like double small spell, which is honestly really hard for bait usually. But the thing is, Inferno Tower just gets so much value here against the Giant because they just have absolutely no reset to it. So that's kind of why you kind of want Inferno Tower. Inferno Tower is only like a little bit bad against Mortar. That's like the main matchup where Tesla's a lot better, but honestly, you can still survive those matchups sometimes if you play super well, so that's why I kind of prefer Inferno Tower in this meta and just in general. Alright, and we're actually going to go with a Goblin Barrel in a bit of a weird position, just in case he went with like some unit to counter it on the right side. And guys, if you have like a princess down on the bridge, you can always, I mean like near the river, you can always just Inferno Tower the bridge against their giants, just to like stop their push in its tracks. No reason not to, and when you have that princess up, it can easily like snipe minions or whatever they might try to use to distract the Inferno Tower, so that's why it's a pretty good play. And the Inferno Tower also finished off the Queen really nicely, so we're looking really good here. And yeah, we're kind of just running this guy thin, to be honest. Like he has spells for pretty much everything, but the thing is, like, he's always getting run a bit thin. Like, right there, he didn't get the perfect timing on the snowball, so our Goblin did get one chip shot there, and, like, our princesses are getting stacked, and just a really good spot for us right now. I'm gonna Inferno Tower in a bit of a weird position, just to make sure it doesn't target the minions. Gotta be really careful with that, because if the Inferno Tower does target the wrong thing, that can be pretty much a GG just from that, so always make sure your Inferno Tower is going to lock on to the Giant. And guards are also a really good counter against Archer Queen. You just have to make sure that they don't like Prediction Arrow on it or something like that. And interestingly, the Dark Prince will actually get kited towards the right lane. So pretty good stuff here for us. And we're already back to another princess at this point, and the other princess on the left lane is staying alive, so we're kind of putting him in a really bad spot here. And we are going to Inferno, like, in this position now, because I was kind of confident he wouldn't go in with any distractions at that point. That's why I ended up going for it. And yeah, now we're kind of, like, chipping down both of his towers, so he has to be careful about our princesses as well. And we're already back to another Inferno Tower, so, yeah. Okay, so E-Spirit is really clutch here, guys. That's why I kind of like E-Spirit in this deck. It helps so much against Graveyard, especially, and, like, against, like, minor wall breakers, for example, or really any deck with, like, swarms, kind of, and it also does help against some of those Skeleton King decks that are going around, so that's why I do prefer E-Spirit in this deck. But yeah, as I was saying, like, a lot of times before, whenever you're running an E-Spirit deck, you always have to make sure to not give them those King activations, but honestly, if you play well enough, you can avoid it. Alright, our Goblin is going to get one stab there, and we're going to finish off his Queen with the Log, and I was hoping our Princess would lock on the tower and the Giant, but it doesn't. Alright, we're going to finish off the game here with a nice Log plus Rocket, so really good stuff here for us. Alright, hopping in the next match, I think we're going to be up against a bridge spam player here. I have faced this guy quite a few times, and he almost always runs E-Barb's bridge spam, so gonna go with a Goblin Barrel here. I was expecting him to have Barb Barrel. I was just hoping that he would go with it in the center placement and wouldn't predict our inside barrel, but he did end up getting a really good Barb Barrel off, so gonna work out for him pretty well, but maybe we can outcycle him here or something and see what's up. Alright, so he's actually gonna have Ram Rider, which is not quite what I was expecting, but yeah, once again, Inferno Tower gonna do a really good job in this matchup, to be honest. Like, the reason I like Inferno Tower a lot right now is because it does really well against Lightning compared to Tesla, I feel like, because even though Tesla's cheaper and stuff, like, and Lightning Lightning resets the Inferno Tower, it's always really good to have the Inferno Tower still, just because of the fact that it has so much HP that even when they go with a Lightning on it, it doesn't finish off the Inferno Tower, so, still gets a ton of value usually, which is really nice for us. And yeah, guard's always doing so much work also in these types of matchups. That's why I love having guards in this deck. And he's going to MK in the back, but the thing is we're going to do really good in single elixir because he's never going to be able to get a proper MK push off. Like if he goes with a lightning, then he can't like support it really, and if he you know, goes with a Ramrod, then he'll just kind of die. And unfortunately the Mega Knight didn't jump on our princess, it just walked to it, so we had to spend the Valkyrie as well to activate our King Tower, but still looking really good for us here. He is going to go with the Ram Rider, but we have like the spell resistant guards up there, so going to shut it down really nicely. The really nice thing about guards as well is that against stuff like Hog Riders and stuff like that, you can kind of just like shut them down really easily with like Guards E-Spirit or Guards Log instead of having to use like an Inferno Tower every time, so guards are like a lot more versatile than Goblin Gang, I feel like, in a lot of these matchups, and that's why they're just so good. Alright, so we did outcycle his Barb Barrel there, so we're gonna get a few Goblin stabs, and it looks like we may be going same lane as him, but honestly it shouldn't really matter too much. The nice thing about going same lane as an MK deck when you're running bait is that you can always just like rocket their MK and tower in especially in double elixir, so it's kind of similar to the E-Giant matchup in that way. And we're actually going to go with a really high Inferno Tower here. I knew he wouldn't have any reset for it except Lightning, and that would just cost him so much, so I knew he probably wouldn't go for it. And he does have E-Spirit, but I went with it in the middle, so he couldn't snipe it very well, and going to work out really well for us here. And yeah, we're always applying good pressure with the Barb Barrels, and we're actually stacking princesses really nicely. And yeah, going to actually log here, keep our princesses alive. And we're actually having double princesses here on his tower. Okay, looks like he's just gonna give up here. Triple princesses, new card. Let's go. Alright, gonna be a really easy win here against one of the best decks in the game right now. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're gonna be up against Lucas. One of the best players in the game right now, so definitely gonna be a good fight no matter what deck he's playing. Just gonna go with his center barrel here. I'm not really sure what he's playing, but I know he doesn't usually use Tornado in his main ladder decks, so not afraid to go with it in the center here. He is gonna have Ghost and Barb Barrel, so could be MK, could also be another Bridge Spam deck, but yeah. Gonna have Valkyrie here. He could have like Magic Archer. Yeah, I was just gonna say I was kind of expecting that. Gonna call the early GG here just because I always do that against him, and I usually always end up winning after that, so why not do that? To be honest with you guys, I often call the early GG against people. It just like makes them think they already won, but then I always come back really well after that, and I don't know, it just works out really well for me sometimes, so that's why I like doing that. And guard's gonna do a ton of work here. We're gonna defend pretty cleanly. Unfortunately, we couldn't do really anything about that first Magic Archer, so he's already up a ton of damage here. But the nice thing is that he doesn't really have any direct damage in this deck, so I know that he won't really be able to like break through too easily, even if he does get a pretty good early damage lead. And yeah, so we're looking pretty good here. We actually do have to go with a defensive Goblin Barrel here. Always hate to see it, but honestly, it can work out sometimes against bridge spam decks. Like if you're if you're in a tight spot and they go with like a bandit at the bridge, Goblin Barrel will be a pretty decent counter to it if you have to use it, so don't be afraid to use it even though it's a really awkward play. And just because we're down so much in this matchup already, I'm kind of going with more princesses at the bridge than I'd normally do, and he's actually going to predict it really well there, so pretty well played by him, but yeah. And we're going to rocket this queen. Honestly, not the greatest trade here because we're already down a few elixir, and that's another -1 trade, but queen is just so OP that I don't even want to deal with it, so I'm fine taking that trade even though it's not exactly ideal. I'm going to go with a high Inferno Tower here, going to pull the bandit and going to pull the battle ram here. And yeah. Inferno Tower not going to do quite as well against these bridge spam decks, like without Mega Knight in them or without a Pekka, but against the ones with the Mega Knight and Pekka, it is a lot better, but yeah, Tesla would be a bit nicer in this matchup, but honestly, Inferno Tower not going to be too bad, just because we can kind of use like guards and stuff against his battle rams quite often, so we don't always need the building against the battle rams. So yeah, try to always like not always use your Inferno Tower against like their battle rams or like ram riders or whatever they end up having. It's always good to kind of switch it up and you know, get better elixir trades overall, because like using Inferno Tower on a battle ram never really feels too good because it's always going to be a -1 trade for you. And okay, he's actually going to give us a really nice rocket there with the E-barbs in the back. Yeah, rocket a really nice card to have. It does really well against balloon. It's really nice for like chipping opponents down at the end of the game, and also like yeah, kind of good against like E-barbs as well and all that spammy stuff. So we're actually going to guards here. Was thinking of Inferno Towering, but I just figured that guards would be a lot better of a trade. And he's actually going to waste Bar Barrel there, kind of just like hoping to get a bit of chip damage, I guess, or predicting our guards or whatever. I don't really know what he was trying to do there, but works out pretty well for us. And just like that, we did take back the lead a bit here, but my main concern here is going to be his magic archers. That's the only thing I'm really too worried about, because I know even though he doesn't have any direct damage, like if he gets a good magic archer on us, that's going to be like a lot of our tower down, so just want to be as careful as possible. And he does cycle the magic archer in the back actually, which is pretty good for me here, so I don't have to worry about it at the bridge. And we will go with the pre-Inferno Tower here. Don't really have like the easiest cycle, so we're just gonna do that. His magic archers are being pretty annoying though, but we're just gonna try to like double log them down, and yeah, gonna get a really nice Inferno Tower on everything. It's not as good as Tesla against these battle rams, but it still gets the job done, to be honest, so I think you can still survive these matchups where Tesla will be better when you're running the Inferno Tower, so that's why I prefer Inferno Tower once again. And yeah, unfortunately his battle ram actually gets pushed a little bit by the ghost, so we did have to waste more than the Inferno Tower alone. Gonna princess here, kind of in a panic, but I think we got it. Yeah, really nice comeback here. That's gonna be GG against one of the best players in the world. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're gonna be up against this Japanese player, I think. I'm pretty sure he does use Royal Hogs EQ, which is gonna be a pretty interesting matchup. Luckily, we did bait out his log really early, and was hoping for a bit of Goblin Barrel chip damage, but he does have the really quick reaction time on the delivery, so I'm not gonna get it here. But yeah, Valkyrie log gonna do a really good job. Like you kind of want Valkyrie in this meta just because of all the Royal Hogs and stuff. Like this is exactly why you want the Valkyrie. Tesla would be a bit better here in this matchup against Royal Hogs, but honestly, hopefully our Valkyrie can just put in a lot of work here. And as you can see, we were able to finish off his queen with a high princess really easily and did a lot of work for us. And we're gonna get a bit of a juke barrel here, hoping to kind of get a bit of chip damage little by little. And interestingly, this guy does have guards over skeletons, which is probably going to be a little bit better for us here. Gonna slow down his cycle slightly, so might allow us to outcycle him a bit more often, but yeah. Unfortunately, we do have a bit of a slow cycle ourselves, having like Valkyrie over Knight and Inferno Tower over Tesla, but we still do have pretty good cycle potential here, so Definitely can outcycle our opponent under the right circumstances. And yeah, we did outcycle his log there, but he does get a quick delivery down, so that is kind of the difficulty with Logbait when you face those double small spell decks, and he does have a pretty good way to break through with the EQ and the Royal Hogs, so not going to be the easiest for us. But I'm actually going to Rocket here just because he went with like the really aggressive EQ, and he wasted a Queen as well. And I know it's about to be double Elixir, so I'm not really scared of doing that. And we're just going to Valkyrie on his Hogs. I think he's going to get quite a bit of damage, but honestly, all in all, we came out of it positive, so pretty good stuff for us. He is going to Cannon there right as we Princess at the river, so not going to be the best for us here, but yeah. And you kind of just really have to feel out like when exactly you can go in with those rockets, because it is kind of very situational. And we do actually predict, I mean we don't predict, but we like juke him with the log a bit, so we do get one Goblin Stab, which is honestly not the most, but it really does add up over time. And we are going to cycle a Valkyrie in the back there, because we were just like in a bit of an awkward cycle, so kind of just wanted to get it over with, I mean kind of like fix our cycle, and we were just fine rocketing his Royal Hogs. It's always an option. We're going to go with another Juke Barrel here. Unfortunately, Juke Barrels aren't quite as good when you're facing like a Fire Spirit deck, just because like if they go with the Fire Spirit on a Juke Barrel, it's going to easily finish it off. And we're not going to Rocket here, because I know he's going to go in with these Royal Hogs, and he already has a Queen down, so no reason to, but luckily he does give us a ton of value on those guards, and he goes with a really late log there, so that does put us right back in the lead here. We're gonna Rocket here. Not the best timing on the Rocket. I mean, kind of just a good play by him going with Royal Hogs right as we go in with the Rocket, but yeah. Luckily he doesn't have login cycle for our barrels, so we did get a few Goblin Stabs off right there, and he did go with a bit of a late delivery, so yeah. And the nice thing is that he can't really go in while our Princess is on the field, so that's kind of why I'm going in with the Rocket right there. It is a bit of a dirty way to play the game, just like rocket cycling, but honestly this is a pretty, I feel like a little bit of a difficult matchup. I would say pretty difficult, but I'm not too sure, but definitely not the easiest matchup, so that's kind of why I'm just playing just full defense and just rocket cycling. Not the most enjoyable gameplay, but hey, this guy's just EQ cycling us, so we can't really complain about it. And yeah, now we just need one more rocket off, so should be GG here. Really nice video, really satisfying wins, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and see you in the next one. Bye!